fly tyers, welcome to another episode of Aaron at the Fly Desk on the Fanaticals channel. This fly will require you not to judge me and not to laugh until you see the finished product. I call it the Bead Leech. This is the exact type of fly that my boys usually laugh at and make fun of until I outfish them with it. So with this fly, what I do is, this is going to be the egg sucking version. Otherwise I just have 3 beads. I don't use tungsten beads on this fly. I just use regular brass beads and black or gunmetal. On this one I have put a hot orange bead on the front, and so I've just got 3 beads in a line, just slid them up on the hook. The small hole of the bead is obviously always in the front. And on this one I'm just going to use some black 3/0 monocord from Danville. It's my go-to thread of choice. Hopefully someday Danville will sponsor me with a free spool of thread. That's my goal for this channel. So what we do is we first tie on our thread, and our next step is I'm going to just use some black marabou. And you can use this top part, it's a lot stiffer. I tend to like to use the fluffier part of the marabou. So I'm just going to grab a nice big clump of the fluffy part. I'm going to cut it off. And then I'm going to tie it right up and against my beads. I'm actually going to go a little bit farther because I want this thread pushing against the thread and materials, pushing against those beads, so that I get a nice tight segmentation of these beads. I want them to compress together. So you can see my tail's obviously too long. I never cut my tails. When I get to this point, I simply tear them, and that gives the marabou a more natural tapered look. So you can see it's nice and fluffy, and it's not just that hard cut right here. It looks more natural. So there I have my marabou tied on, and then now I'm going to just get a couple pieces of crystal flash, and I just tie one on each side, and I cut it about 1/8 of an inch longer than my tail. Oops. And that just gives it a little bit of flash as it's going through the water. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is simply cover all my material up with thread. And then once I get to this point, I'm simply going to wrap my thread to where it's going to press my beads up against each other until it's tight. So you can see I've got a nice tight segmentation now, no spaces in between. And then I'm going to whip finish. Okay, and if you have watched any of my other videos, you probably know what's coming next. I'm going to pile out my trusty Loon UV clear fly finish in thick. I'm going to get my light ready. And I actually turn it on, but I point it away from the glue so I don't seal the top of it. Then I'm simply going to dress this on the fly. Keep my taper, kind of let it settle down, and then I'm going to hit it with my light. bit. So we're going to do the bottom part now. And this glue does two things. Number one, it makes this fly virtually indestructible. And number two, it gives it a really good leechy look. If you've ever seen a leech, they kind of have a little bit of a translucent look. And in my opinion, they look almost identical to that glue look that's on the fly. Now what I do is I just kind of spin it, and anywhere where I'm a little thin on glue, I just fill it in so my taper is nice and even through the fly. Just kind of let that settle in. The reason why I use thick instead of the flow version or the thin is the thick is a lot easier to work with. It doesn't drip. That's actually very even. So the cool thing about this fly is it's going to get down deep quick. I typically use this fly most of the time when I'm out in the middle of the lake fishing the deep water, and I fish it right on the bottom. Or if I'm casting towards shore, I will find a place where it drops off deep pretty fast, especially on like a rocky point. And I will simply just cast it straight into the shore and then strip it very slowly in. This fly is effective for bass. You can tie it in olive and it imitates a minnow. We're getting ready for ice off at the local southern Utah lakes and ponds, and typically at ice off, if you use these egg sucking patterns, it seems to trigger the fish a lot better. So I hope you've enjoyed this version of the Bead Leech tied by Aaron at the Fly Desk on the Fanaticals channel. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below. And don't forget to like and subscribe our videos. We appreciate you watching. Thank you very much.